It's not normal for you to be like this. It's not normal for you to open your eyes and feel tired already, to drag yourself out of bed without energy, without desire, without motivation, for each day to be a carbon copy of the previous one, an absurd repetition of a life that doesn't seem like yours. And yet here you are, phone in hand, letting the first dose of artificial dopamine dictate the rhythm of your day. You know what's worse? That you think this is normal. That you think being exhausted all the time is part of life. That it's the fault of work, stress, routine. But I'll tell you something. There's something deeper, something you haven't wanted to see, something that's destroying your ability to enjoy the real, and the worst thing is that you're allowing it. Your brain is broken, not physically, but in its functioning, and it's not your fault. But it is your responsibility. Because while you wonder why it's harder and harder to concentrate, why you feel your life lacks meaning, there's a hidden reason that explains everything. Dopamine, that substance that should be your ally, has become your worst enemy. Think about it, you wake up, and the first thing you do is grab your phone. Notifications, social media messages, a constant bombardment of stimuli designed to trap you, to keep you hooked, to make you feel you need more. But what you don't see is that every time you consume that instant pleasure, you're turning off your own ability to feel real pleasure. And that's why you're always tired, because your brain is used to easy gratification, to reward without effort. And that, my friend, comes at a price. Look around you. How many times a day do you check your phone for no reason? How many hours do you spend consuming meaningless content, watching videos, scrolling without thinking? And then you wonder why you can't concentrate, why it's so hard to enjoy a moment of silence, why everything bores you. The truth is, because your brain is atrophied, because you've replaced real satisfaction with an artificial, fleeting, empty version. And the worst thing is, you're not the only one. We live in a society of addicts, addicted to quick dopamine, to immediate pleasure, to constant distraction. And the irony is, the more we seek pleasure, the more unhappy we become. The more stimulus we consume, the less able we are to feel true satisfaction. It's a vicious circle, and if you don't break it, you're doomed to a life of apathy, dissatisfaction, emptiness. But here's the part no one tells you. You can recover your mind. You can get out of this state of lethargy, of this chronic tiredness, of this mental fog. It won't be easy, but it's possible. And it starts with a decision to stop being a slave to artificial dopamine and return to the real. Because the real is the only thing that fills. Exercise, the sun on your skin, a deep conversation, a walk without distractions. The real is what makes you feel alive. But to get there, you have to do something that goes against everything your brain wants. You have to abstain. You have to learn to be in silence, to feel boredom without looking for a screen, to do difficult things without expecting an immediate reward. And if you do, something incredible will happen. You'll start to wake up. You'll stop being tired all the time. You'll recover your energy. You'll feel excited about life again. Because when your brain stops depending on artificial stimuli, it becomes sensitive again to natural stimuli. Food will taste better. Music will excite you. Moments will feel magical. Because you'll have retrained your mind to focus on what really matters. And here's the key question. Are you willing to make the sacrifice? Because getting out of this state requires effort, requires discomfort, requires facing your own destructive habits and deciding that you deserve something better. But if you do, the reward is life itself. A life where you're not always tired, where you don't depend on a phone to feel something, where you don't feel like a zombie trapped in a meaningless routine. It's your choice. Continue in the wheel of exhaustion, of empty pleasure, of constant dissatisfaction, or wake up, recover your energy, your focus, your ability to enjoy. Dopamine is a double-edged sword. If you control it, it's your ally. If it controls you, it's your cage. What do you choose? And here comes the part you haven't realized. The cage is not just dopamine. It's your environment. It's the world you've built without realizing it. Everything is designed to keep you trapped in a cycle of immediate pleasure and eternal fatigue. It's not just social media, it's not just the screen, it's everything. Think about this. When was the last time you did something difficult without giving up? When was the last time you faced an uncomfortable task without looking for a distraction? You've been programmed to avoid discomfort, to run away from any effort, and that's the real problem. It's not just dopamine, it's the lack of resilience, the lack of tolerance to discomfort. Every time you feel a minimum of boredom, you grab your phone. Every time something requires concentration, you look for a distraction. Every time something isn't immediate, you abandon it. And so, little by little, you've become someone who can't deal with real life. Because real life doesn't give you instant rewards. Real life is slow. Real life requires patience. And if you can't stand the emptiness, the silence, the waiting, then you'll never be able to enjoy what really matters. Because here's the brutal truth. The tiredness you feel is not just physical, it's mental, it's emotional. And the worst thing is that you're causing it yourself, not just with dopamine, but with your lack of discipline, with your inability to postpone gratification, with your fear of discomfort. Look at it this way. The most satisfying things in life require effort. Building a business, developing a skill, having a deep relationship, improving your body. None of that is instant. All of it requires patience, sacrifice, time. And if your brain is used to immediate gratification, you'll never be able to do any of that. You'll never endure the process. You'll never feel the true satisfaction of having achieved something difficult. And there's the key. Artificial pleasure is taking away your ability to enjoy real pleasure. Because when your brain gets used to easy reward, it stops valuing the reward that requires effort. And that's what has you trapped. That's why you're always tired. Because deep down, what exhausts you is not work. It's not routine. It's not life. It's your inability to find meaning in what you do. Because everything that would really fill you, everything that would really make you feel alive, requires effort. And your brain is no longer prepared for that. But you can change it. You can recover your ability to enjoy the process. You can retrain your mind to endure discomfort, to value effort, to find pleasure in the difficult. But to do it, you have to break with the cycle of immediate gratification. Start with something simple. Resist the urge to grab your phone when you're bored. Endure a little longer at the gym when you want to give up. Force yourself to read a book instead of watching a short video. Every time you choose difficulty over ease, every time you endure a little more discomfort, you're retraining your mind more than you think. And here's the most incredible thing. When you start doing this, when you start moving away from artificial pleasure and exposing yourself more to real effort, something changes. Your energy returns. Your motivation comes back. Your mind sharpens because you're no longer looking for escapes. You're no longer running away from reality. You're facing it. That's what really makes you feel alive. So the question remains the same. Are you going to continue in the cycle of empty pleasure and eternal fatigue, or are you going to wake up and start living for real? Here's the part no one tells you. It's not just dopamine. It's not just instant gratification. There's something deeper, something that's consuming your energy, your ability to think clearly, your desire to do something meaningful with your life. And the worst thing is, you haven't even realized it. Your mind is overloaded, saturated, not with work, not with responsibilities, but with noise. Constant noise, unnecessary information, irrelevant opinions, notifications that interrupt your concentration every 5 minutes, memes, meaningless controversial trends. Every day you absorb more data than your brain can process, and most of it doesn't contribute absolutely anything to you. And yet, there you are, consuming more and more, as if you fear being left out of something. That's another cage no one talks about. We're not only trapped in the search for immediate pleasure, we're also trapped in an excess of information. And the worst thing is, this excess doesn't make us smarter. It makes us weaker. It steals our ability to think for ourselves. It turns us into passive consumers instead of active creators. It keeps us busy but not productive. And here's the irony. Most people think they suffer from lack of time, but the truth is, they suffer from lack of clarity. It's not that you done,